Alright, welcome to this video where I will be sharing with you guys one of the best ways to create dark beats all from scratch in FL Studio. Make sure you guys watch the whole thing because I want to use a few unique sounds you might not have heard about, and then I'm obviously going to show you guys some very cool tricks for both the effects and the drums later on. So let's not waste any more time, let's just jump straight in. Alright, so we are now here in FL Studio 21 as you guys can see, and the sound I'm going to be using is going to be this Music Box Magic from the Unclean Machine preset in Omnisphere. It's from the Sonic Extensions pack, but the reason why I want to use exactly these type of sounds is because there are a few unique ways we can actually manipulate this sound right here. So if you guys take a listen to how the normal preset sounds, it's a pretty cool preset, but the unique thing we actually can do with this one is that we can use these different scene buttons down here. So let's say if I go on this second one, the preset will sound like this. So you can hear it completely changes up the whole sound. So what I really feel like doing for this one is just make a normal dark pattern using this first preset right here. And then we can probably layer our main pattern with one of these scene buttons. So let's just open up the piano roll, and the scale we're going to be working in is going to be D minor. And as you guys might know, when you are trying to make some dark melodies, you definitely want to focus on the half steps in the scale. So the half steps are basically these notes that are right next to each other right here. When you use them in succession, they are going to create a lot of tension in your melody. So that is literally perfect if you want to go for that exact vibe. Now, since we want that dark pattern, we're going to do exactly that. So let's just start off on this D right here. Then we can put another note 2 semitones up. And we can already here start to make a little bit of a pattern. So as you guys can see, I'm using the half steps right next to each other. We're going to drag this one out a little bit, and let's start using the half steps up here. So we can add one note right there, and we're just going to copy this over, but this time I'm going to actually lift this up a couple of semitones. We can also drag this one down, and I'm just going to copy that over, keep it very repetitive and super simple. Next, I'm just going to highlight these root notes and also put them down 1 octave. Now, I really don't want to overcomplicate this, since the dark patterns, in my opinion, usually sound the best when they are actually kept very simple. So all I'm going to do is just copy the whole thing over, but this time I'm going to pitch it down by 5 semitones. This is going to be our pattern. This is going to sound super fire once we add some effects to it for sure. So for the effects in that bell, I just started off with this effect tricks over here. So I'm using this reverse section on the last bar right there. Then I'm also going to add a halftime. And the cool thing I'm going to do right here is just switch from 1 bar to half a bar. And then I'm also going to switch this effects all the way to the left while keeping the mix at about 80%. This is going to give us a very, very cool sounding effect for the halftime. Now, just to give the pattern some more texture, I'm also using the 103 preset in RC20. Then I also have this coarse preset in effect track. And lastly, we just have this EQ to really cut out the low frequencies and the boxy mids. This is how our pattern sounds with the effects on. Definitely switches up the vibe. Now, as I said, for the second sound, I'm literally just gonna clone the same exact preset we had on the first pattern, but this time I'm gonna press this 5th scene over here and just try to layer the same pattern over on this one, just to see if it sounds nice as a layer on top of it. So I just pitched it up by 1 octave, but it's still just the same exact pattern. So as you guys can see, just layering 2 sounds can really enhance the whole sample, but it's also a very easy and simple trick you guys can do as well. Next, I'm just going to open up this piano over here in Contact, and I'm just going to see if I can find a nice little top melody we can add on our main pattern. I really don't want this to be too present, so it's going to be very low key in the background. So we just have this super subtle pattern right here. It's just to give it that little bit of texture on the high end. All the effects on the piano is just going to be this roam and also this effect track. I am using this step down filter preset just to kind of switch up the sound on the piano a little bit. I want the sound to be as unique as possible since we don't want it to be too present, and we also want it to fit into the dark vibe. As for the piano pattern, again, I'm literally just focusing on these half steps, as you guys can see, just using these notes that are right next to each other. Now, the last things I feel like the sample needs is just a sub bass, a counter melody, and also a little bit of texture in the background. So let's just start off with that sub bass. I'm of course using the stash crash bass from my Euphoria bundle kit. All you want to do with this one is just make sure to turn off loop points. You want to go over to the envelope tab as well and make sure to put the hold all the way up while you put the rest of the knobs all the way down. Then you want to go over to the wrench tool and just make sure that cut self is pressed on, and you also want to right click this D sharp note over here. This is just to make sure that the sub bass is in key. I'm gonna try to add a slide note right here. It goes perfectly. That is hard. So I really like how this slide note turned out. If you want to do something similar to this, literally all you want to do is just make a little bit of a slice right here before the end. Then all you want to do is just press this sliding button to the top left, or you can just press S on your keyboard. Then you are just going to lay a small little note before the end right here, and it's going to sound amazing. Now that we have this sub bass, all I'm going to do is just open up this bank over here in Arcade, and I'm just going to look through a couple of the phrases to see if we can find a nice sounding counter melody. So I think this is gonna work nicely. All I'm gonna do now is just pitch the whole sample down by 3 semitones so we have a little bit of a different pitch to it. And then I think it's time we add some drums. As for all the drum sounds I'm using, they are of course coming from my Euphoria bundle kit. So if you guys really like the drum sounds you hear, you can obviously check out the kit. It's on my website, it's BBMarko.com, or you guys can just click the first link down below. Yeah, let's start off with this clap right here. Alright, so I want to add a few more elements like the open hat and the snare, but I feel like to get a good bounce on those, we have to have a standard hi-hat pattern. So for the hi-hat pattern, I'm actually just going to drag in a MIDI from the Euphoria pack. So literally, let's just drag in a completely random one and see if it fits. I like this hi-hat pattern. Let's just get a bounce in for the kick as well. Have a super busy kick pattern. I'm messing with this right here. Yeah. Oh, that's all right there. I'm feeling this one. I kind of like this with just the sub bass. I think we'll actually drop the 808 for this. So I actually really like how both the kick and the sub bass kind of goes together. So I think for this one, we're just going to drop the 808 and actually keep the kick and the sub bass for our main pattern. Right, so this right here is going to be our final beat. It's a very simple one to be fair, but it has a cool vibe to it. Here comes the main part. Bring in that layer, as well as the sub bass. Then we have the counter melody. This is something that is super easy to flow over. Verse slows everything down. Then we have the main part of the verse. That kick and the sub bass goes perfectly together. Then we just have our bridge. Almost the same as the intro, but it builds back up to a new hook.